Okay, we have to apologize for that technical hitch there. Now, my man Bosompra will be under heat for this one, but he sorted it out. I trust him for that, together with Frank Gomelesio and the rest. So I was saying that this program, the abridged version will be repeated tomorrow on GH1, I think, and then also on Wednesday at Ghana, on Ghana Television at 8:30 p.m. on both networks. Also, Business and Financial Times will carry that edition. So that should be it. Today we're going to talk about, if you heard, the Lebanon port got exploded a few days ago. It was a bizarre incident in Lebanon, captured by everyone, and it wasn't a good picture. Lots of properties lost, even lives, human lives lost, and all of that. We'll be talking about the lessons that we can learn towards protecting the ports of our country when it comes to importation of dangerous and hazardous goods and all of that. This is very, very important because a lot of hazardous or dangerous goods are imported into the country. How do we protect the space in which these things are stored and the places where these things are imported through when it comes to this particular product? So that's what we're going to be dealing with. We have the experts who are running things and manning affairs within the port already seated in the studio. We'll be dealing with that as soon as we return from the break. Stay with us.
Goil makes good things happen. This time, Goil has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. Goil Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. Goil Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. Goil Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with Goil Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. Goil has that sorted. Goil, good energy.
Electricity, pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water, or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Oh, how are you?
Hi Yvonne, a few words please. Everyone is talking about the fire at your production house last week. How are you holding up? Has production stalled?
No, not at all. My crew and everyone on my set is perfectly fine because I insure with Serene Insurance. As a matter of fact, I've had all my equipment replaced, including the vehicles that were affected. My workers have been sorted out. Even my production downtime has been covered, so it's all good. I have a meeting to attend to, so I have to get going. Sorry about that.
Which insurance company did you mention?
Serene Insurance, the new face of insurance, a member of First Sky Group.
Coronavirus area is fine pa. So be ready. Nasa opowa gu so anasa ohwinti gu so a utuminya yare ni bi.
Okadi ni bahani onaka oyehila ekoji. Ohe banye do. Oba wulo. Ogo bahunu. Oba chine. E ojamba wohe. Oba na sen kaka. Mekme musunchon. Mekme nuni enihi.
Coronavirus infection, the symptoms can range from mild, one of it being asymptomatic. Asymptomatic just means that you may not have any symptoms at all, and the disease process can gradually worsen to be a severe form, the severest being ultimately death.
We are expected to sanitize our hands when our hands are not visibly soiled or you can't really see dirt on your hands. If you can see dirt on your hands, the best thing to do is to wash your hands with soap and running water.
If you're using any of the cloth face masks, always make sure you have a rubber bag ready to receive it when you remove it, or you have a bowl of warm soapy water in which you can place the mask and wash. Wash your mask, dry in the hot sun for at least 5 hours, and apply heat by way of ironing.
Utiliser les ports de Tema et de Takoradi, c'est avoir un traitement rapide et sécurisé de vos marchandises diverses en conteneurs, en sac ou en vrac, ainsi que tous vos véhicules en transit. Le Ghana a construit un parking bien pavé pour tous les véhicules en transit. Une nouvelle gare frigorifique pour le stockage de la marchandise congelée en transit. Avec un nouveau centre de traitement de données construit et la mise en œuvre efficace d'un guichet unique national qui permet aux données d'être accessibles par tous les intervenants, le traitement des dossiers dans les ports du Ghana est maintenant efficace et plus efficient. Utiliser les ports du Ghana, c'est profiter des systèmes de portes électroniques et d'exploitation des terminaux ainsi que de la réservation des navires en ligne, entraînant ainsi un parc de camions fiable pour un acheminement de vos marchandises dans les brefs délais avec un suivi satellitaire jusqu'à nos frontières.
Les femmes, à vous les honneurs.
Les ports de Tema et de Takoradi célèbrent la femme. Que les bienfaits de cette célébration apportent plus de bénédictions.
To the program, it's live on Metro Television, Eye on Port. Now, over the week, the Ministry of Trade launched a Ghana Business Regulatory Reforms Portal. Very, very important tool that they want all businesses. Now, you can now relate to the policymakers when it comes to trade with this particular portal. It was under the supervision of the best Minister of Trade in Africa. We call him Wafa, Kojo Chremanting. He launched that particular portal and he watches the program a lot. So, Honorable Alan Chremanting, thanks for being an ardent viewer of the program. Let's take a listen to that particular program.
The Ministry of Trade and Industry has officially launched the Ghana Business Regulatory Reforms Portal, which is an interactive portal that would enable policymakers easily consult affected businesses and individuals in a transparent and timely way, and at a considerable cost savings. It is also intended to provide open and transparent access to business regulations through its electronic registry of acts, legislative instruments, regulatory notices, administrative directives, procedures, forms, and fees. The Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Robert Ahomkalense, revealed that since 2017, the government has been ensuring that the introduction of this portal would clean up or simplify existing business regulations which are inefficient or are not business-friendly. According to the Deputy Minister, the portal would facilitate adequate consultation with private sector during the rolling out of regulations and reforms.
The essence of this is to ensure that when we, the public sector, want to do anything that is social regulation, we have a basis of ensuring we get full feedback from you, key stakeholders. And no regulation should be introduced without this being done. No surprises. I started by saying businesses do not like surprises. They want predictability.
The CEO of Indexcom Limited, technical support group for the ministry in the development of the Ghana Business Regulatory Reforms Portal, demonstrating the use of the portal, disclosed that in its e-registry component, any business person can access from over 5,000 laws pertaining to his or her business by the use of the search engine.
In consultations during the initial stages, it came out clear that the business user wants something that is straightforward and simple. Therefore, it is important when you are dealing with over 5,000 laws, provide a search engine. Hence, the design to have this search box for people to be able to just quickly go there and search for whatever that they are looking for.
The area of public and private sector representation at the launch, Intense, commended the government on leveraging on technology to ease business relations with policymakers.
Doing business across the world today requires innovation and systems that can enable business people save time and resources. It is this novelty which can enable Ghana as a country integrate into global systems, many of which have departed from the manual approach of information management and retrieval.
We find this online business portal an affirmation of government's continuous support to ensure an enabling business environment and building a new and a more efficient Ghana. As a chamber, we are exceptionally delighted about the benefits of this online business portal.
The special guest at the launching event, Minister of Trade and Industry, Alan Kwadwo Tremantin, stated that the initiative is one of the main strategies to make Ghana the most business-friendly economy in Africa.
Because if now it is becoming clear to us that we need the private sector to finance our development for us, then you have to start thinking about how do I attract private capital. This is all basic logic. How do I attract private capital? And it is, again, an uncontestable fact that private capital moves to destinations where they are pampered and where their value is recognized.
He also highlighted that such innovation is intended to strengthen the ties between private sector and government towards the Ghana Beyond Aid agenda, where the private sector would enjoy an improved working environment.
COVID-19 seems to be teaching us a number of lessons. One of the most important lessons is that with the disruption in global supply chains, as a country, we have no choice but to begin to realize that we have to increasingly become self-reliant.
Members of the public who want to participate in a consultation process for formulating business-related policies and regulations were urged to register on the portal. Users of smartphones can also access the application via Android or iOS.
We're going to talk about how to protect humans, goods, and properties around the port industry using the example of the Lebanon port explosion that we saw some few days ago. So, importation of hazardous and dangerous cargo into this country through the ports. How do we ensure that we have a very safe environment? My guest in the studio, Mr. Edward Heyman, is a fire and safety manager at the Port of Tema. Mr. Heyman, pleasure to have you in the studio.
Thank you.
Good to see you. And Mr. Richard Aduyirenchi is a senior revenue officer with Customs Laboratory at the Port of Tema. Rich, pleasure to have you. Welcome back to you. Traveled, right? You were far away somewhere.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. And then also in the studio, Mr. James Benjamin Gazy, the General Manager, Estate and Environment, Ghana Port and Harbours Authority. Mr. Gazy, good to drag you to the studio. Okay, I'm going to start with, well, I don't know who would like to take it first, but do we all recall what happened in Lebanon? Can anybody share and what went into it, if we know?
Let me start. What I have read ahead is that cargo passing through the port was confiscated and sent to storage.
Okay.
And it's been in storage since 2012, 2013. And the owners of the cargo, I guess, abandoned the cargo.
I see.
And
we're going to see videos. The producers will be rolling the videos on the side while you, so that it gives us a better picture of what you are talking about.
Right, right. But before this incident happened, there was some activities going on next to the warehouse where the cargo was being stored. And fire caught fire, extended to the warehouse where this confiscated cargo was being kept. They ignited and the explosion occurred.
I see.
So that's what I know about it. Maybe my other experts can give more details about it.
No, I think largely you have given it. So the cargo, this cargo was confiscated. Is that what the picture looks like?
That's a story that we are hearing.
Okay. So it was imported and it was confiscated by the customs?
I don't know.
Well, I heard...
it appears that it was passing through the port.
Okay.
Either on transit or, I don't know, under the transportation of cargo.
Yeah. The report I heard, though, was that it was confiscated by customs in the Al Jazeera report, though. But let's break it down. What are some of the hazardous and dangerous products that we import through the port or that are imported into this country?
All right. Thank you, Sami. Good evening to you and your cherished viewers. I bring you greetings from the Commissioner General of Ghana Revenue Authority and the Commissioner of Customs and the entire management. Basically, there are several of these dangerous goods that we continue to receive in the country. Let me first of all define what dangerous goods are.
Okay.
Yes, dangerous goods, or otherwise referred to as hazardous goods, are basically substances or materials that, when transported, pose an immediate health hazard to people, properties, and the environment due to their physical, chemical, and toxicity properties. And for us as customs, we acknowledge 9 classes of dangerous goods listed under the IATA codes, and then the IMDG codes, which is the International Maritime Dangerous Goods codes. And the first class are the explosives, which consist of ammunitions, dynamites, and the likes. We have the second category, which is made up of the flammable gases like propane, methane, and the rest. Okay. And then we have the category 3, which is made up of the flammable liquids like alcohol, acetone, and the rest. And we also have category 4, which is made up of flammable solids, which consist of activated carbons and the rest. And then there is a 5th category, which is made up of oxidizing agents and peroxides. A typical example is the famous ammonium nitrate, which recently came in the news at the port of Beirut in Lebanon. And it also includes the permanganate. These are all oxidizing agents listed under the 5th category of dangerous goods. We also have category 6, which is made up of toxic and infectious goods, which consists of compounds of lead and mercury. These are all toxic and infectious goods. And we have the 7th category, which consists of radioactive materials such as enriched uranium, and then plutonium, cobalt-60, and other radioactive materials. And then the 8th category consists of corrosive materials such as acids, hydrochloric acids, sulfuric acids, yes, and any other acids. And then there's a last category, which is the miscellaneous, because some goods that we do receive in the country cannot be classified in any of these categories that I've mentioned. So there's the 9th category, which is reserved for such goods.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, Mr. Heman, from your safety perspective, is that what you also see? Do you see the same, or there are some that you would like to share in addition?
Yeah, Sami, thank you very much. I think Rich have said it all. With the definition exactly is same. The classes 1 to 9 is same. We also observe same. Okay. And in the port, we work together with the SEFs. Okay. So as Richard said, it's the same thing. Okay. I think the other aspect is from your initial question about Lebanon incidents. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we also learned that there was initial explosion where firemen responded in the course before the major one also came.
They responded to an
initial one, and then they were fighting before the major explosion took place. I see. I was much interested because there was a fireman who died in the process, and then they find the body after some days. And then a young guy who passed away. I was also going through, and I saw that there about all the firemen who responded initially, all of them passed away. It was something that we can't allow to happen, anywhere. Yeah. I think maybe I'll come in again.
No, so if you can also tell us from the Lebanon story, do we know the products that were involved? How did the first explosion happen, and how did the second one also happen?
Yes, the first one was not the ammonium nitrate, but it was explosions that happened within the port, and then they responded to. Okay. But I think it got out of hand. Yeah. And then it got in touch with the ammonium nitrate in a shed in the port. Okay. And that took them by event, and then become another catastrophe for Lebanon.
Okay.
Yeah.
And being the safety man in charge at the port, for instance, how are we able to handle such cargo, the dangerous cargo, separate from the regular activities, so that in the event that there is some even explosion of a sort, or there's a fire of a sort somewhere, we don't have a likelihood of it getting in touch with any of such cargo that are dangerous or that can explode, explosive cargo, for instance?
Yeah, I think we are blessed. We have leaders who are much concerned about these dangerous goods. As I am talking with you, we have a committee which has been set up to come out with, to audit the two ports about the handling of dangerous goods. And then earlier this year, we have a dangerous goods regulation, which was signed by the Director General of the Ghana Port and Harbours Authority. And this is what we use to control and to monitor and to help to ensure that there's safety in the port whilst dealing with dangerous goods. Yes, we have, under this regulation, we have what we call Group 1 and Group 2. The Group 1 are, like Rich said, we have Class 1, Class 2, Class 5, and Class 7. They're supposed to go on direct delivery. Direct delivery here means that at shipside, they carry it on trucks and they take it away from the port. Straight. Okay. We don't allow it to stay in the port.
Okay.
Per case that is supposed to stay for a day or two, we have what the fire department do as monitoring or fire cover. We deploy our fire engines and men to monitor it till it leaves the port and ensure that we go by IMDG good regulations and ensure that there's safety before the cargo leave the port.
Okay.
Yes.
This is for the first or second categories where the cargoes are escorted right from shipside all the way to its destination, and it doesn't even have to spend one day. What about the other categories that are allowed to stay either in some terminals of a sort?
The Group 2 have a short stay span. That's up to 5 days. It's supposed to leave. It is allowed by that because there are other documentations that the consignee have to get to ensure that the cargo leave the port. So we have a short days to stay in the port. Within that stay, we have also to ensure that we do what we call the same monitoring and ensure that they are safe in keeping, ensure that proper segregation is being done at the storage areas in the port. And in the port of both two ports, Tema and Takoradi, Tema, we have a terminal, dedicated terminal where dangerous goods are being kept for these short days before it leaves the port to ensure that we have a safe area to operate at all times.
Both ports have dedicated terminals for that.
We have dedicated
terminal. And this is for the category 2 that the port can hold these cargoes for about 5 days.
Exactly.
Are there other categories that go beyond 5 days?
Well, if it have to go beyond 5 days, we still ensure that we follow up with the consignee and try to find out why the cargo is being kept. Basically, we have no interest that the cargo should stay in the port. And if you know the procedure where before you order or consignee get the permit to order dangerous goods, it goes through the ministries and other agencies. And before the minister, the Interior Minister have to give you a permit to import these goods.
Yeah.
And when the goods arrive in the country, you also have to go and get a permit to clear it from the port. So if it's going beyond the normal days that is supposed to stay in the port, it becomes a security issue. Yes.
But are there events where the acquisition of the permit itself can also lead to a delay, so that the consignee also pleads for a certain period of time to allow the cargo to stay?
I would say that there is, because of the documentation, there's a delay.
No, I'm asking, are there circumstances where we have such cases?
We have a delay, but that's why I say that there are a few delays that go beyond the 5 days.
Okay.
But I will not term it as a delay, intentional delay. It may be when the goods have arrived, the minister and his team also have to ensure that the purpose upon which you have imported it is going to be used. And that's where the security works have to be done before they give you the permit.
But aren't those done before you import? Do we wait for you to get in here before we start asking you those questions? Because at that point, go and come can take a longer time, and then the port will now be holding and hosting your hazardous product.
Well, we have not experienced beyond that measure in the port. What we know is at times it may be security intelligence before they give the final permit to clear.
Okay.
For that one, you can't do any otherwise. You have to allow the security system to work to ensure that wherever they are going to, help the country and help the production that they are going to use it for.
Yeah. Mr. Gezi, from environment perspective or point of view, what kind of environment should be created for such cargo to be handled?
Thank you. I wear 2 caps.
Estate
management and environment. And because environmental issues occur on land, that's why you combine the estate and environment. And you take a cue from land use management and land use planning. In the port, it's very important that you segregate the users.
Yeah.
You put activities that have common environmental issues in one place so that you can deal with it when the issues come up.
Yeah.
So that's why GPHA thought it wise to create a terminal dedicated to dangerous and hazardous cargo.
Okay.
So that the terminal can build capacity in terms of knowledge and handling of hazardous cargo. So when we started this in 2008, there were protests against that decision. But it was a good decision that we took.
Okay, to have a dedicated terminal.
Either to have every terminal handling dangerous cargo.
Okay, so prior to the year you mentioned, which is 2008.
Between 2008 and 2009,
that
decision was taken.
Okay, until then the various terminals were just handling.
All the container terminals were handling dangerous cargo. And when you go there, you see dangerous cargo mixed up with
other cargo.
Yes, this cargo comes in different forms. Some containerized, some in jute sack, some you don't know what is in it.
Yeah.
And at times it will not be uncommon to find the container not properly labeled.
Yeah.
So you may not know what
the
is
content.
Inside. So mixing them with human activities and other things is very dangerous.
Yeah.
So we decided to keep these cargo in one terminal. So we have a dedicated terminal that handles cargo. We have places where you can build tank farms to receive this cargo, the liquid bulk. We have places where you can have other crews in the port, so we don't mix them up.
Okay.
So when you go to TBT, who we've contracted or had an agreement with to handle dangerous cargo, they have staff who are trained.
Okay.
And have the relevant equipment to handle dangerous cargo. So you don't see them missing cargo up. They know where to position each cargo, and he better will explain these things. And they monitor it to ensure that they don't mess them up. So for a port like ours, that's the way to go.
Okay. Have a separate
terminal where capacity is built in handling
such
cargo.
Okay. Yes. Which is what we currently have in our ports.
What we currently have in the port.
Okay.
Yes.
Then let me find out from customs. Rich, in the event that a consignee imported any of these cargoes, but is not able to clear within the stipulated time that Mr. Herman, for instance, raised. So the category 1 would have been the first day, category 2 would have been within 5 days. What happens? What does custom do with such cargo?
Yes, thank you. In the event where a particular consignment, somehow, due to maybe documents, like the importer or the declarant is unable to secure the necessary permits or license from the regulator, and maybe it exceeds the allowable 21 days period from the date of last discharge from vessel.
That one too has 21 days?
Yes, because customs works with laws.
Yeah.
Yes. So
and the law affects all the cargoes?
Yes, yes.
All the cargoes? So
yes,
whether hazardous, dangerous, or regular?
Yes, yes. Like he mentioned, for instance, our laws clearly make provisions for dangerous goods. When you make reference to Section 4 of the Customs Act, 2015, Act 891, it empowers the Commissioner General to designate an area to be used as customs controlled area. And when you come down to Section 46 of the same Customs Act, Act 891, it also empowers the Commissioner General to prescribe measures for the management of such goods at the customs controlled area. So we've already made provisions for those goods. But however, all importers are to clear their cargo within 21 days. So right after 21 days, if somehow the importer is unable to clear his or her cargo, it moves to the state warehouse.
Yes.
Yes, confiscated. It moves to the state warehouse. Yes.
Okay, so what I want to...
But then, in the case of dangerous goods, you can't directly move them to the state warehouse due to the hazardous nature. So we have what we call constructive warehousing at TBT, where the items or the goods still remain at TBT, but they are deemed to be at the state warehouse.
So even though it's at this point in time, after 21 days, as you're saying, it's confiscated, you don't bring it to the state warehouse because you can't mix the two.
No, because the state warehouse already contains other goods.
Okay.
And mixing such dangerous goods
is not appropriate.
It's not appropriate.
So you leave it where?
At the state under the care of constructive warehousing.
Like,
yes.
So where?
At TBT, okay. That's the dedicated terminal.
What about Atlas?
Atlas, we don't send such goods to...
I thought we do.
Yes.
Don't we?
Yes.
There are a few of them there, at least.
Okay.
As at Friday, I heard they've identified 13 boxes.
13 boxes of such hazardous goods?
Yes, suspected.
In Atlas?
Yes, Atlas.
Okay.
So the EPA is going to write to... I think they had discussion with your boss, and they are going to write to him on how to clear them. But to add to what the two of them have said, for every chemical or the dangerous cargo that you import, you need an EPA permit. One of the key permits that you need. EPA will scrutinize your request for the permit and try to assess the impact that permit is going, that cargo is going to have on the environment, on human life. And they will sit down with you and give you measures. They will give you the permit, all right. I have a copy here. I received all the permits that they issue. They will give a permit, all right, but the permit had conditions.
Okay.
Condition in terms of labeling, in terms of even transportation. They require that you use certified transporters. For instance, in Ghana, we know that Verad is the certified transporter for cyanide. You use certified transporters. So, we expect that when customs is inspecting all the documentation, they will ask the transporter, what transporter are you using? Does it have a permit? And also inspect the permit. So even the transportation of cargo has to go through processes.
Okay.
So whoever has a permit to transport cargo will have to show that he has the capacity to transport that particular cargo.
Okay.
But what do we see? Anybody bring a cargo truck to the port, put my cargo truck on it, and he takes it and it goes away. So that's a huge danger that we are posing to, not to the port, because the port will ensure that you take your cargo out, but to the environment.
Okay, I would want you to emphasize that side again. So you are saying that ordinarily EPA should certify
all the transporters of dangerous cargo.
I see.
License them to carry particular.
You get him now.
Yes.
And is that what is being done?
I seriously hope that it's being done. If
But
it's not
do you
being
see
done,
that?
I'm not in operations, so I would not be able to tell.
Okay.
Yes, I mentioned the acquisition of permits, but I want to state here that it's not only EPA that grants permits on dangerous goods. For instance, when we are dealing with radioactive material, the importer is to liaise with the Nuclear Regulatory Authority for permits. And so the kind of permits covering a particular dangerous goods depend on the nature of the goods itself.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not EPA that is the sole body that grants permits on all dangerous goods. Of course, they are key stakeholders
in some of those permits. But so I just got this from the acting director general. He's actually outgoing. There's a new director general coming into EPA. A public notice that he issued some time back, and this, I'm talking about Mr. Puamang. He says the public notice, the recent explosion in Lebanon, which is alleged to have been caused by ammonium nitrate, and maybe we'll be seeing the images of the Lebanon explosion shortly again. The EPA has noted with grave concern the recent chemical explosion which shook Beirut, Lebanon's capital city, on Tuesday, 4th August 2020. According to the authorities, the blast was triggered by fire in a nearby port that spread to a warehouse where ammonium nitrate was being stored. We wish to further state that ammonium nitrate in Ghana is used both as a fertilizer for farming and as an industrial chemical, especially in mining operations. The compound itself typically doesn't detonate on its own and requires another ignition source. We therefore direct that ammonium nitrate must be kept away from the fuels and sources of heat. The agency directs all concerned in the storage, handling, and use of ammonium nitrate to ensure that all safety requirements and protocols are strictly adhered to, and the general public is advised to keep away from such storage areas. The agency wishes to assure the general public that it has taken immediate steps to ensure that all known designated storage areas of ammonium nitrate in Ghana are audited to ensure that safety and stringent storage practices are enhanced. For any further information, so the addresses are there. Rich, on this one, do we have some of these ammonium nitrates coming in?
Yes, we do receive ammonium nitrate regularly.
And they are all stored at the TBT that you mentioned earlier?
Yes.
Do we have some that have that have been confiscated by the state, gone beyond the 20
months? Not that I know of, because of, like you mentioned, it has dual use. So normally we facilitate their clearance. Yes, direct, yes.
Okay. The other thing I want us to help reconcile, and I don't know whether, and we can all share ideas on this one. I don't know whether I didn't get a picture well, because Mr. Heyman talks about the 1 day and 5 days. Now, there's room enough per the customs law to go all the way to 21 days. How do we?
Yes, I have the DG, the Dangerous Goods Declaration regulation here. And this one, like what Richard said, I think that's when it comes to extreme. Extreme cases. But in the essence of where the cargo has come and the processes that the authority follow for dangerous goods to come, before the dangerous goods have to come into the port, we have to get what we call declaration. They have to come and declare and give us the details of the cargo that is coming, and it comes to my department. And when we get it, it gives us the information of the class, the number of cargoes that is coming, and then the processes. So we assess them, and then we make provision for it handling. We find out to know that whether these cargoes are going on direct or not direct. And if it's not direct, we know it have to go to TBT in Tema.
Okay.
But when it goes to extreme, as he's saying, now we have a few boxes in TBT which has overstayed.
Okay.
And now it become a customs issues.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why I say security issues.
Yeah.
So those ones are there. And like how Mr. Gezi also said, these are some of the things that they will trigger to ensure that it moves from that place, because that place is not a designated place for those dangerous
storing those.
Yes.
But that's what
the good thing is it's away from the port itself.
The TBT?
The TBT is away from the port itself. That make it good. And then the terminal, the TBT terminal also will not be happy allowing overstay container staying there for long. So they also will put pressure to ensure that those cargoes are taken away from the place.
So is it the case that we don't see such cargoes overstaying in that place at the moment?
Not frequent, not frequent, but occasionally one or two may show up.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
but
where SEFs comes in and then ensure that their acts also cover it to ensure that the proper thing is being done.
Okay. So Richard, how can your outfit also ensure that, per what we are all seeing from Lebanon and every place, it's not long ago we had the Tianjin one, the one from China. Yeah. It's becoming a matter of concern. How is your outfit also ensuring that if it's 5 days, as is mentioned, we don't get the excesses, even the 21 days, even though your law allows that, like any other cargo, you can go 21 days. We ensure that these cargoes leave the port environment as quickly as possible.
Yes, thankfully, customs, apart from securing revenue, we are also into trade facilitation. So it is not in our interest to delay any consignment at the port. Customs has a wing called the Customs Laboratory, and at the port, we are popularly referred to as chemists. We work closely with the regulators in cases where the importer is not having the necessary permit or license covering the consignment. We advise the importer or the declarant to liaise with the relevant state agencies like EPA, Nuclear Regulatory Authority. Sometimes we with NACOP, that's the Narcotics Control Board, for dangerous goods that can be used as precursors for manufacturing of certain class of narcotics. So we quickly advise them to make their permit application so that as quickly as possible we get them cleared. We don't really detain much of these dangerous goods at the ports, unless maybe the importer or the declarant fail to declare to customs. When you fail to declare to customs or you don't enter.
And that's a possibility,
yes,
isn't
yes,
it?
it's possible.
Which,
yes, because
it has been happening.
Yeah, day in, day out, I mean, some of these importers are trying to attack.
And in that case, what do you do?
So it's clearly a customs offense, and we treat it as such. We apply our laws. And so when there's a breach in customs procedure, we first detain the consignment for 30 days pending production of necessary documents from the regulators.
Okay.
And then after 30 days, if the importer still fails to appear, it moves to seizure, which is another 30 days. And then from seizure, it goes to forfeiture. And then
so that's where I have the issues, because all these number of days that you are mentioning means that you give a lot of pressure on those who have the responsibility to protect the space where these cargoes are going to be stored. Is there a strict measure that is going out to the importers of some of these cargoes that, look, here we don't do this, up to 5 days, if we don't see it, we destroy,
yes,
or we do this?
Normally, before even the cargo arrives, I mean, they may have put in the application. So that is why I was saying that we hardly receive such cases, because they normally put in the permit application in advance before even the consignment arrives. So the moment the consignment arrives at the port, quickly we facilitate their clearance.
Okay, so like the other cargoes, and I'll come back to Mr. Gezio, the other cargoes that we know, cars for instance, sometimes, or even fridges, any other cargo can be uncleared by the importer or the consignee, can be abandoned. There are even books that are abandoned sometimes. So it's possible that some of these dangerous or hazardous products can also be abandoned. In the event that it's abandoned and the consignee never shows up to come claim it, what do you do to them?
Yeah, like I did mention, they go through the custom procedure.
So do you destroy in the end? Like
yes,
you destroy
which I mentioned, detention, from detention to seizure, seizure to forfeiture, that is forfeited to the state, and then afterwards it's gazetted and then disposed. The disposal can be in the form of auction to the public or allocation or
auction
destruction.
The dangerous cargo to the public?
Yes, because it has use.
Okay.
It has use.
Yeah.
It has use. Unless, under the circumstance, we can auction to the public due to security or
reasons,
other, yes. That one, we protect the consignment and we destroy it in collaboration with other stakeholders, like EPA, Port Health, yes.
Okay. Mr. Gezi, how can we handle such situations where cargoes of that nature are abandoned? The importer brought it in with the hope to clear it. For some reasons, he gets into the country, he feels that I don't have any need of this, it's too dangerous. He abandons it, or I can't even clear it because my money can't take it. What do we do? What is the best way to deal with it?
It's not uncommon to see one or two of such cases happen.
Yeah.
Because somebody may have a need for a cargo and may bring it without even finding out how much it costs for him to clear it. Once he gets to the port and the customer says the duty, he gets scared and abandons. So it's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible. But to allow, you see, we have international regulations, have laws, but as a port authority, we also have our own regulations, our own standard operating procedures. So he has developed his procedures. By his procedure, you are supposed to pre-inform him on any cargo you are bringing in. So it enables him to pre-plan. He knows when a vessel is coming, you know what the cargo is, the class it is, and whether it will go direct or in the, for storage. So it allows Mr. Heyman's office to plan the coming in of the cargo. So once the cargo hits the port, he knows that this one is going direct. So he will examine all the documentation on it and clear it for direct delivery. If the consignee fails to do this, then that's where the problems comes in. And it's not uncommon for some people to behave that way. But what to do with such situations so that it does not result in the Beirut kind of situation? I think we need to be a little more proactive.
Okay.
Because he goes to TBT often to monitor cargo there. Okay. What about those that leave the port for, that goes into the state domain, seizure?
Okay.
When a cargo is seized and goes to Atlas, he may not have his eyes there.
Yeah.
The port safety manager may not have his eyes there. So we...
At that place, who should have his eyes there?
It's in the domain of the state. So
it's supposed to be customs?
Yes, customs.
Okay. Yeah.
So we need to try and get some monitoring system to identify those that are kept too long there, especially to know the nature of that cargo, whether it can be stored in that place and the condition at which it can be stored. And if it's problematic, why not dispose them very fast?
Yeah.
So that's what we should be doing. Then also we should also guide against, we have so many state institutions in the port, customs, national security, BNI, and we pray that such interference in seizing cargoes do not happen in our port.
In seizing such cargoes?
Seizing such cargoes do not happen in our port, because if the cargo is confiscated, it's out of the reach of the port authority.
Okay.
Because you cannot take decisions on them. But if it's in normal storage, then the port safety manager has control over it.
Okay.
But when it's seized, he leaves his hands and he has no control over it.
Yeah.
So we pray that such things will not happen in the port often, because it becomes very difficult touching something which is confiscated.
Because it belongs to the state.
The state has seized it. So even going close to it
becomes so it means that then the port authority, now it's moved away from the port authority's management. Sure. But then customs too may say that they have seized it for a reason. The person is not coming for it and all of that. So are we then saying that customs at that point should also find a way to protect such cargo?
Sure, sure.
Yes, which we do.
Okay.
Which we do.
So at Atlas, for instance, what are the measures there?
At TBT, not...
no, because Atlas too has some of those, right?
Yeah, he was just telling me.
Yes.
But,
so should we keep them in Atlas? That's the first one. If we should, how do we protect it there? If we shouldn't, then what do we do to them? Those that are there or those that we keep there?
Yeah, quickly, we need to go and carry out inspection, carry out physical inspection on the goods. That is if they have a kind that can be examined, because not all dangerous goods can be examined physically.
Yeah.
Yes, you can't go and examine radioactive source because you end up exposing yourself.
So how do you identify that this container indeed contains what it is? When it comes to these dangerous goods?
Yes, normally...
If you can't do physical...
Yeah, normally after scanning, you know, the containers are scanned. Mm-hmm. And every shipment also comes with accompanying documents. So at the point of clearance, we examine, we do a bit of document verification. Mm-hmm. We examine the material safety data sheets. We also check maybe the EPA permits and other supporting documents. This gives us an idea as to the nature of the goods in the container. Okay. So before even the officer approached the container, he may have been abreast or informed by what kind of goods are in the container. Besides, all dangerous goods are supposed to be labeled. Yes, per the dangerous good regulation, they are supposed to be labeled with pictogram.
Okay.
Pictogram are more or less like this, hazard signs.
Yes.
So for instance, when you see an explosive, you find, if you know the sign, definitely you can tell that these goods are explosive. You can also tell if they are flammable based on the hazard sign. So
okay.
we normally...
Let me quickly say that you can join the conversation. I've seen some of the messages already. You can join the conversation on this particular subject through WhatsApp as well as a phone call. And you can begin to call now. The number that you can call is 020-552-8353. 020-552-8353. The number you should WhatsApp is 055-901 9177. 055-901-9177 is the number that you can WhatsApp. I think it should be on the screens. And there's a message for you, Rich. It says, please, can you allow the customs man or officer to throw more light on whether there is a provision in the Customs Act on the need for insurance coverage for hazardous items?
Yes, the insurance coverage for such dangerous goods comes in the form of premises bond, like in the at TBT. Before Commissioner General licenses the facility, you must meet certain requirements. So all goods stored there or kept at that terminal are more or less has some bond cover on them. Yes.
Okay. Mr. Ayman, I have seen you and your men do a lot of simulation stuff around the port there. What do you think, what is the message that ought to be given to consignees, port users, and everyone else, particularly when it comes to these hazardous and dangerous products that we're talking about?
Yeah, I think all that we need is a collaboration to ensure that we follow the due processes. It is very clear in the IMDG book telling us how...
Sorry, the IMDG is what?
It's International Maritime Dangerous Good
Code.
Okay. It gives you the detail on how to... It comes in a tray, it's a set of tray. And it gives you the directives, how to handle it, transportations, and the storage. If we are following all these principles, we can avert all these incidents that happen like in Lebanon.
I see. But how do we follow them? And who is guiding us to follow them?
Yes, before like any consignee import any goods, he must know that he must have a purpose for it, and he go through the regulations as required. And when it's also import, he have to also ensure that he follow the due process to clear it from the port. If we are all doing same and ensuring that the procedure that we have all agreed to be followed, it will be well with all of us. But where comes maybe like what we are talking about, TBT issues, that we have some dangerous goods stored in TBT and it has overstayed its limit, it become an issue. And once it's in the hands of the state, it becomes a little difficult for the port authority to do any other thing.
Okay.
Yes.
But in that case, even though you are limited, once, and maybe Mr. Gezi, that would come to you, even still, Mr. Eman, once you are aware that there's something like that there, and in the event that it's not properly managed, it can bring problems to the entire port environment, what can be done? What steps can be done to push either the state that is now in charge of the cargo to take action?
Yeah, I think the TBT managers have taken action upon, for the past week we have been talking on this issue and then doing a follow-up to ensure that SEPS will fasten the game and make sure that it moves from that place.
Okay.
Yeah, basically we in the port, our interest is the cargo should leave the port area.
Okay, it doesn't have to stay.
That's the thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see people still have...
Yeah. When the consignee is not prepared to clear, it's very difficult for him to clear. So once the cargo has been confiscated, once it's been confiscated, then the best thing is to find use for it, dispose of it, identify those who have use for them, and maybe allocate it to them or auction them.
Okay.
That's the best thing to do. But like Heyman said, environmental issues, it's not one man's
business.
Everybody. Yes. We need to collaborate on these things. We have regulations, clear layout regulations. The IMG codes also have regulations. So if we are importing anything, you should know what laws and rules govern what we are importing.
Yeah.
You don't just import anything and just dump it anyhow.
How can we also discourage people from doing that?
Punish them. Look for them and punish them.
Okay.
Because the port cannot be a warehouse.
For dangerous cargo like that.
Your cargo and come and keep them there and go and look for buyer. That's what some people do.
They are now going to look for buyer for the dangerous cargo.
They hear that this commodity is selling. So they import it, go and look for buyer. Until they get a buyer, they will not come and clear. And by the time they come,
then your outfit is now...
So if they are used for them, why not dispose them?
Okay.
Instead of keeping them in the port.
So Pauline, one of the top freight forwarders and a very seasoned one for that matter, she says there is a customs procedure that's supposed to facilitate removal of very hazardous and dangerous cargo. Hazardous DG, okay, from the port, unlike the normal cargo. Can Mr. Irenchi take us through that? If you can do that quickly.
Yes, it's the same procedure that I mentioned.
Okay, which is?
The same procedure that I mentioned.
Okay. Mr. Eduche, the sector commander at port says dangerous containers at Atlas were mistakenly kept there. Okay, so he's clarifying that one, that the ones that went to Atlas were mistakenly kept there. Such containers were released by the terminals because such containers have overstayed the statutory period without proper description, but only container, okay, there's a container number, with some officers shall, in collaboration with EPA, etc., shall open such containers. And if they are DGs, a caution list shall be forwarded to the Commissioner General for prompt action. So he admits, though, that they were mistakenly sent there, but the proper procedure will be taken. But it has to, looking at the way they have stayed there for long and the fact that that is not where it's supposed to be, together with other goods, because in Atlas you have other goods there, right? You have cars and all that.
Yes, yes.
Samir, I suspect this cargo may not be even labeled well. So imagine the kind of people who touch, go near the container, if there's something inside, for instance, if there's radioactive material inside, these dangerous cargo are silent killers.
I see.
You may get in contact with them, you will not know that you've contacted something.
I see.
With time, you will start suffering from it. So we need to be very careful. We need to keep them in a terminal that has capacity to handle them.
Okay.
Like the TBT terminal.
Okay. So let me just announce the number that you should call again. The number is 020-552-8353. The number that you should WhatsApp is 05590191177. This one says EPA must. It's coming from one James. It says EPA must quickly release cargo immediately. An application is put in for final approval or temporary approval for premises examination to safeguard the security of the port. Have we been seeing some delays from the institutions that are supposed to grant permits?
Yes, sometimes they do complain that they have challenges with the regulator, like EPA and nuclear regulator.
Minerals Commission, what about Minerals Commission?
Yeah.
Because I've seen a message to that effect as well.
Yes, sometimes. But you know, they also have their own laws that you need to satisfy their requirements before eventually permits are granted. So some of these delays comes in as a result of the importer not meeting their requirements.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me ask this again before I come to Mr. Herman. It says, good evening, please. Can you ask the custom officer which party would be most responsible for, 1, appropriate packaging, advice on safe mode of transport, 3, well-documented and marked transport equipment, safety storage and handling of dangerous goods. This is from Kofi Tema, Community 2.
Yeah, but it will have to do with Ghana Standards Authority because per our law, that is LI 1541, we have a labeling law, LI 1541, which stipulates that all consignments coming into the country must first and foremost be labeled in English, clearly be labeled in English with production expiry dates. In instances where the labeling is in other language, there must be the translation version. But then, like we have the dangerous goods protocol, it also comes with some requirements, the labeling, the handling, the type of packaging materials that can be used to containerize such dangerous goods. They are all stipulated in either the IATA dangerous goods code or the IMDG codes. When you go through the regulation, you get to know.
Mr. Herman,
yes.
In all of these discourse, when it comes to safety within the port space, it comes to your table. What do you think ought to be done, either by other colleagues, state agencies, or the consignees, or other port users, or even port staff, to ensure that we have a safe environment for humans and goods?
Yes, thank you, Sami. I think what's required is, 1, the education being carried out have to be taken more seriously. We are lucky we have RMU who always, every year, organize the handling of dangerous goods for the port community.
The Regional Maritime
University. It's a 1-week program. They always do it about twice a year for stakeholders to attend to. We should take it seriously.
Okay.
And again, like anytime you are importing or clearing, we should make sure we follow the due processes that is there. All the requirements, they are from SEPS, ARTS, and then from the IMDG, they all are the same thing.
Yeah.
They are the international standard that have to be applied. When the shipping line follows same. And again, to the shipping community, the shipping line should ensure that they come out with a clear declarations.
Okay.
Shouldn't hide anything. It becomes more dangerous when you hide it. Yeah, if we know that you are having this thing, then there's procedure to handle every dangerous goods.
Okay.
Yeah, and then within the port community, we should also observe the dangerous goods, and then the operators, the positioning and then the handling. There are certain goods, handling should be an expert who have to handle it, like dropping it and other things is not expected to be done.
Okay.
And then we should ensure that segregation, if you come there, you have to stay for a short while. Ensure that proper segregation in the port is being done to ensure that safety and then for the cargo and then the environment is preserved.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'll give you for now.
Okay, so Pierre is a regular texter and regular also ardent viewer. He texted something quite long. I would attempt to paraphrase, not necessarily, but reduce the length of what he has sent. Pierre, you began by mentioning names and describing people, so I will skip that one. He says there is an LPG terminal that is coming somewhere around the opposite the shipyard. And close to Newtown, where people live. Now, you think that the EPA should be mindful and advise itself in giving permit to this effect? Management, and it says Tema Shipyard and management. Tema Shipyard management should also ensure that they don't allow this to happen, and the EPA to decline or advise itself operating permit for anyone to operate in such a volatile operate such a volatile gas fuel sales point anywhere along near the stretch from the entrance of Gasem to Barrier at the Tema Fishing Harbour. So you go on and on. I think that is well paraphrased enough. The point is made. But if it can be simplified somewhere, we will attempt to read it. Mr. Eduche has come in with something that I think he feels that we should. The containers went to Atlas Fort. They were properly not described well, but transfer of UCL containers only have their marks and numbers proper. So how can we avoid some of these mistakes as well? Because in the event that something untoward happened, we're going to bring some of these reasons. Oh, something didn't go well, we didn't describe well. How do we ensure that we describe appropriately? And ensure we eliminate some of these small mistakes that can eventually take some of these cargoes to places where they are not supposed to go. And if something untoward's happened, then we come back biting our fingers.
Yes. The best practice, I believe, is that if a container lands in your port and it's not properly labeled or described, it should go back on the vessel. Go back to where it came from.
Is that possible?
It should be.
Okay.
That's the best practice.
If you haven't described it, we don't know what it is. We send it back.
Send it back.
Okay. Instead of going to keep it and not know it.
I don't know whether it's true. I hear EPA requested that it should be sent back.
I see. So this one says, do we have air quality control body at our airport, at our ports? This is Robert Gremond. Can the fire department trace the source of chemical pollution in the air at the ports?
Presently, that's for within my domain.
I see. It's moved from the fire.
Presently, we don't have, but I can assure you that measures have been taken to do so.
Okay.
We engage a consultant to study the port and assess the port and advise us on what to do.
Okay.
So we have a quality assurance project plan that has been developed for us.
Okay.
We have tendered for the project plan, recommended certain stations, points that we should mount the stations, the monitoring stations.
Okay.
And recommended appropriate equipment to be purchased. So we've tendered.
Yeah.
The tendering is being evaluated, and I believe that once the best evaluated tender is recommended, we'll award the contract for it to be done.
Okay, let me pick James from Ablekuma, and then we can go to the texters. We have James? Okay, we lost James. Sorry for that. I've kept him on the line for too long. Do we have James? Okay, hello, James.
Yeah?
Hello?
Yeah.
Yes, James.
I'm here with you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, hello.
Hello, James. We can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah. What I want to ask the person officer. He just mentioned that there is a insurance for the export.
Hello, James. James, kindly turn down the volume on your set so that we can clearly hear you. At the moment, you are not clear.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've sent it now.
Then go ahead, please do.
I was asking that the customs officer just said that there is a insurance for the guys working at the port. Is he very sure that when something happens to anybody in the guys at the container side, insurance actually covers them? Because I've seen a little incident that happened there. They get nothing. They get nothing. Some of them even go to hospital and use their own money and treat themselves. So I want him to clearly point out to us that yes, it is true. This is the insurance package there for the workers over there. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I hope you heard him.
Yes.
But I'll add this to it, and I think the person expressed, Mr. Duche, to also the Assistant Commissioner, whom I know that is watching critically, is also get us a response. This is what happens when a class 1, that is explosives, arrive on Sunday, when customs are not in the port working. Do you work on Sundays? Can Mr. Irenchi and Mr. Duche throw a bit of light on this one? It's coming from Fifi. Okay, and then you can add the gentleman on the James from Ablekuma's issue as well.
All right. So in respect of the insurance cover that he was talking about, I think that is a responsibility of the terminal.
Yeah.
So they are supposed to take care of it, not customs.
Okay.
So, and then the second question, yes, customs currently operate 24/7 at the port.
Okay.
Yes, when you come to MPS, we operate 24/7. You can always find us from Sunday to Monday at all times. So currently, you can even clear your goods at any time around the clock. You can
so
just
on Sundays, when the goods arrive, the dangerous goods arrive, they should come and clear.
Yes, but unfortunately, like I mentioned, dangerous goods are not routed to MPS. There's a designated terminal, inland container depot, to take care of it, which is TBT. TBT unfortunately,
doesn't work on Sundays.
Yes, it doesn't work on Sundays.
So it's still back to square one. Nobody,
but
you can clear on Sundays.
We work on Saturdays. So when a vessel arrives, it doesn't mean automatically the goods will need to be cleared.
But your system, you said that it must be cleared within the first day, the class 1.
No, that I didn't mention. I didn't mention.
Class 1 is supposed to go on direct delivery.
Direct delivery. It means that as soon as it landed, you should go. So that same day.
Yes, but if a vessel arrives on Sunday, you can't
and you have to have a direct delivery.
Yes, definitely the declarant will need to pass the declaration for clearance processes. And between Sunday to Monday morning, it can be done. And it can still fall within 24 hours.
Okay, so I think we are looking at where some of all these things are so that if they can be streamlined. And on Facebook, quite a number of people are watching, says, Gifty Gaze. Okay, this one says, Herbert Apenkro. Mr. Gaze is making a very serious and valid point, and I'm happy he's not mincing words. All of us need to take this very seriously. Efia Boatiman says, I agree the port cannot be a warehouse, especially for not hazardous cargoes. I think there should be a strong working rules for dangerous cargoes. We should all be prudent. Okay, so that's from Facebook. We have a caller. Okay. Hello. Hubert from Tema. Hello, Hubert. Okay. Seem to have lost Hubert. And hello, Hubert. Okay.
Enoch.
Is it Herbert? Okay.
Enoch.
Enoch, yes, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, please. My question is on TBT.
Mm-hmm.
We know that a lot of containers, hazardous containers, go to TBT.
Mm-hmm.
But looking at the facilities we have there, I think TBT don't have the capacity to handle all the hazardous containers, because TBT, as we speak right now, though they are outside the port, they don't have the facilities to handle those things. And it's outside the property, it's closer to us, and anything can happen. What is your authority doing to make sure that TBT is well equipped to stand the challenges in case of anything like what happened at Lebanon? That is what I wanted to ask.
Okay. So this one says, funny enough, dangerous cargoes given green for quick clearance are turned red for platform examination. This is very worrying. You know about that, Rich?
Yes. It's not so worrying because as dangerous as they are, they need to be controlled. We can't just also release them onto the market without following through the necessary procedures. We allow for direct delivery, but in the event where they need to meet other statutory requirements, we can't just allow it.
But what agency is given to the platform examination?
What agency?
What agency? What level of some expediency, some quick sort of examination process is it subjected to?
Yes, it
or the regular one, the normal one?
No, it's like I did mention, we are into trade facilitation, and because we are into trade facilitation, we facilitate their quick clearance at the ports.
Okay.
And so we don't necessarily delay these goods at the ports. It's the clearing of these goods also begins with the declarant. If the declarant don't show up, customs cannot force, you can't clear the good by yourself.
Okay.
Yes, if the agent don't show up. Yes, so
yes. So this one says, please, which regulations governs the transport of dangerous goods by road, sea, and air? Yawat from Achimota, do we know that? Okay, Mr. Duche has responded to you, the gentleman who wanted the response you gave earlier. He says you can, the caller must put in a request or application earlier, and you'll be allowed pre-entry. Later, owner, okay, later owner perfects the pre-entry. Okay, so I think that is explanatory enough. Please, wants to find out the procedure on a very dangerous container prior to the 21-day period. Thanks. So what procedure, if you have that 21 days, I think it's the same thing you've talked about it earlier. The 21 days, assume that I'm supposed to leave it there for 21 days. What are the procedures? Because I have 21 days to leave my goods there and it's a dangerous cargo. Can I leave it there?
Why would you want to leave it there?
Oh, maybe I have to go and look for money. I have to go and do this.
Can I come in?
Yes.
I think it's if the
which is a possibility. It does
it
happen.
go
like
for
Mr.
charges.
Davis said
Anytime your container has come and it's supposed to go and it's not going, it go for charges. If myself and my men are detailed on your container, you pay us per the port tariff.
Okay.
And I think you will be not helping yourself. I mean, incurring more cost.
Okay.
Yeah. So
let me pick James from Adan because he's been on the line for a while. Mr. Heyman, I'll come back. Hello, James.
Yes, sir. Evening, boss.
Evening. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. I'm calling regarding red issuance of clearance. You see, there's one thing. Customs at head of it gives you green, which tells you that, the cargo can go. Because it's a dangerous cargo and they know the content and everything, it should go. But when you come, like the officer was saying, you have to come, the agent has to come to the port again to come and do what? It's green. So green means green. If customs are giving green, customs at the port is saying red, customs is contradicting itself. It shouldn't be like that. If it is green, it is green. My second question is this. It's regarding, the shipping line. Like you clear your cargo, you have to clear your cargo today. Today is Sunday. You go and they say, the due has expired, and then you are going to drop your container. They'll tell you, the container is going to drop. They don't work on Sundays, so you can't drop the container. Which means the next day, Monday, you must renew the due before you drop the container. But they will charge you. The container shipping line will charge you for not dropping the container on Sunday, but they don't work on Sundays. What are we doing about this? Thank you.
Thank you. And this one says the customs is boasting of 24-hour clearance, yet TBT, the terminal for the dangerous goods, doesn't work on Saturdays. Does customs have any plans to push TBT to work on Saturdays or do the 24 hours?
It's possible. It's possible because so far, it's proving working 24/7 has proven very successfully at MPS. So it's possible. As I'm speaking to you now, we've received an application for Golden Jubilee to also go on 24/7.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's possible that it can same treatment can be extended to items being.
Is that an engagement you would push for as soon as possible?
Customs has already received an application to.
That's the Golden Jubilee.
Yes.
I'm talking about TBT now.
Yes, it's possible. That's why I'm saying that we have received an application from GAPOA,
yes.
Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority.
Because they have seen the need for it. But I'm saying
to our Commissioner General. But then
TBT.
Our Commissioner General will need to grant approval.
Okay.
If we are to.
Okay. Before I pick Evans, another senior customs officer says the law requires, and this is Mr. Akafui Smile Agbemenu, he says the law requires master of vessel to submit all cargo on board, including such dangerous cargoes, by indicating as such. The customs system automatically assigns TBT to such cargoes and are either delivered to the customer directly upon discharge from the vessel or cargo transferred to TBT for proper control awaiting delivery to client. Nice input from our senior, and we would need more of that to share because we all need the education. So Smile, continue to keep them coming, as well as Mr. Duce and all. We have a caller, Evans from Tema. Hello, Evans.
Yes, sir.
Yes, good evening. Go ahead, sir.
Sir, please, I would want to inquire from the customs officer that in February, I made an agent in Aplau, Togo border.
Okay.
Get a declaration form on my CVR on a vehicle. But then, due to the coronavirus, I've not been able to buy a car. And then I understand the system is also changed.
Okay.
According to the agent is
Evans. Okay.
Yes,
I think that's well noted. I have allowed you to end it somehow so that we get import of it. You can reach out to the customs folks tomorrow going. Everybody will be back at the office and then get that sorted, because that's separate from the particular subject that we are discussing. Saima, we were on you talking about what we can do to push people online, because the safety issue would eventually come to your table to secure everybody around the port area there.
Thank you, Sami. I think the Lebanon incidents have to indicate to us and as incidents alert to all of us in terms of handling of dangerous goods in the port. If all of us will understand that with China incidents, it started from a single container, and at the end, it spread all over in the port. And if we take much interest and ensure that dangerous goods, when it comes, we have to ensure that it moves quickly from the port to its destination. It will help all of us. Again, too, the handling processes in the port must be duly followed. If we are following the handling processes, it's going to also help us as required by the regulations. We should follow all and ensure. And I've already talked about coordination among all of us, the stakeholders. Very, very important to ensure that the shipping line, the consignee, and then the port authority, including ourselves and ourselves, everybody, ensure that we don't cause any delays. I would further also want to say that the Lebanon incidents is not, we are not only looking at ammonium nitrate, but we are looking to all dangerous goods, the class 1 to 9. Okay. We are looking to all of them. A few occasions, some of the consignees will come and then they will tell you, oh, this is only matches. But if it's matches, it has been classified as class 1.
Matches is classified
as class 1. One is in container, and it must be handled as such. Yeah. By the directive and then the laid down procedure, it must be handled as such. So we should all collaborate and ensure that we are saving ourselves, we are saving the port, we are saving the nation as well.
Yeah, so that brings me, when you mentioned matches, it brings me to a texter who I just thought that sort of implied that, oh, what are these dangerous goods that some of us we are not familiar with? You are hearing that even the matches is part of it. So very basic goods that you use in your homes, domestic goods like matches that we all use as part of it, and it can also cause a lot of explosion around the port area. Mr. Herman, do you have regular, and I have seen some, but what sort of regular interaction do you have with port users when it comes to conscientizing them regarding these areas?
Yeah, basically we have a training program that we carry out with our stakeholders in the port. Because of the COVID-19, we suspended it for some time. Hopefully we'll come back again. We go from the shop to shop and then educate them in the handling of all the safety issues, safety concern issues in the port. Yeah, and then with the dangerous goods, we also follow up with the declaration form, which is more key from our stakeholders as well, to ensure that we can plan ourselves and prepare ourselves for the handling of the dangerous goods.
Mr. Gezi, what advice would you give, and what lessons do you think we can draw out of this Lebanon thing, and to agencies, port users, port staff, everybody?
Sami, I think all ports in the world should draw valuable lessons from the Beirut incident. Mr. Herman's sector handles the cargo in the port. If it goes wrong, touches the environment, are coming.
Yeah.
And the port plays a very major role in any nation's economy. Once life is destroyed, property is destroyed, like the Beirut one, the port cannot operate, and it will affect any nation drastically. If the environment, like the spill in Mauritius, that's causing a lot of damage to the environment, if it happens in the port, the environment is destroyed, and the port, the nation will suffer as a result. So we need to take these measures very, very seriously. We need to collaborate, customs, the major stakeholders in the port, customs, GPHA, the statutory agencies that also Food and Drugs Authority, EPA, should collaborate and make sure that we educate consignees to know what they are supposed to do, because most of them may not know. I'm reading one of the conditions here that says that transportation of the material should be done only through transport companies licensed by EPA. I doubt if they do it. We should educate them and to know what they are supposed to do, because these rules are applicable everywhere, even on board vessels. The International Maritime Hazardous Cargo Code applies to every vessel, every facility applies to them. So we should educate them on how to treat these things so that it does not spill into the environment and cause environmental damage to us.
Okay. Rich.
Hello, Sammy.
What do you think immediately your outfit, other agencies should begin to do with lessons from this Lebanon incident, and then we can secure our ports?
Yes, thank you. Obviously, we need to review our policies, some policies. Yes.
Like which one?
Oh, general
the 21 days, for instance. Should it
obviously customs
cover all goods, or we should?
We are learning. We've learned a lot, and our policy and programs department. It's possible that they will review some of our policies. Yes, but then I think importers will need to ensure that prior to importation of such dangerous goods like these ammonium nitrates and other explosives and all the other ones that I listed, they would need to secure the necessary permits and license before the goods even arrives in the country, so that it shouldn't be the case that when the goods arrive, that is when the importer or the declarant will put in application for permits. And again, importers and the entire trading community will need to adhere to the safety measures instituted at the port. When you come to the port,
how accessible are they, those safety measures?
Oh, they are readable.
Where are they? Where do you have them?
When you are, for instance, at TBT, when you will not be allowed to enter the terminal without having the necessary personal protective gears on, like reflective dress. I mean,
so there are signages and requirements that are
yes, the various hazard signs
visibly displayed.
Visibly displayed. So yes.
Okay. So
and of course, importers also making sure we will urge the importers and of course the declarant to also declare to customs, because if you don't declare to customs, it's become very difficult for us to determine the type of goods that you intend clearing.
Okay.
Yes.
So we're going to go for some of our international news shortly, but I would more or less say that our fourth guest from afar will be Mr. Eduche, and he has sent in a few things. Let me just pick that one quickly. Customs works on Saturday, but stakeholders do not come. And he has had engagement with Yasmin Ashiagbo, who is the manager for TBT. And she has affirmed readiness to work if only clearing agents will show up. That's for the Sunday as well as all the other days. So let's make international news. We'll be back shortly.
Port developer and operator Hutchison Ports has signed a long-term agreement with the Egyptian Navy on the development and operation of a new container terminal in Abu Qir, Egypt. An online signing ceremony took place on 27th August 2020. The new terminal will be located inside the Abu Qir Naval Base, naturally being sheltered by the Abu Qir Peninsula. The Greenfield project will be connected to a new two-way highway with 3 traffic lanes on each side and residential bypass, linking it to Alexandria within 20 kilometers, as well as to the national road network to the capital city of Cairo and other major cities across the country. The total investment in the new terminal is expected to reach $730 million. The new terminal has a concession period of 38 years, and the first phase is expected to commence operations in 2022. A consortium between Bolloré and APM Terminals has signed contracts with the China Harbour Engineering Company for the construction of Abidjan's second container terminal, known as Côte d'Ivoire Terminal. CIT is scheduled to be operational at the end of 2021. The consortium will invest 400 million euros in the construction of the terminal and equipment. Once completed, the terminal is expected to employ more than 400 people at its go live, with a similar number of people being employed for its construction. At the end of the 20-year concession to operate, the assets will be returned to the autonomous port of Abidjan. Located adjacent to the existing Abidjan terminal, the new terminal will add an additional 1.2 million TEU in annual throughput capacity in its first phase of development. The Côte d'Ivoire terminal was formed in 2013, and the first phase of the project was handled by the autonomous port of Abidjan. Due to challenges caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, Hong Kong-based port operator COSCO Shipping Port suffered decreases in both throughput and earnings in the 6-month period ended 30th June 2020. Total throughput dropped by 3.6% to 57.6 million TEU in the first half of the year, while equity throughput declined by 6.6% to 18.1 million TEU as a result of the lower demand. Additionally, total throughputs from terminals in which the group has controlling stakes decreased by 15.6% to 10.5 million TEU, and throughput from the group's non-controlling terminals decreased by 0.4% to 47.1 million TEU. Gross profit was $99.2 million in the first half of 2020, a decrease of 35.4% compared $153.4 million seen in the corresponding period a year earlier. The BBC has reported that at least 17 dolphins have been found stranded on Mauritius shores over the past several days, raising questions about whether these could be linked to a recent oil spill from Wakasho bulker that went aground last month and subsequently split in two. Environmental group Greenpeace said at least 4 dead and 4 ailing dolphins were found stranded on Wednesday morning on the shores, calling for an urgent investigation to determine the cause of the strandings. The environmental group said that the long-term impacts of the oil spill are yet to be determined, but it is estimated that it will likely affect turtles, seabirds, and much of the marine life in the area. The 13 crew members of product tanker MT Curacao Trader who were kidnapped off Benin back in July have been released and are all safe and well. The information was confirmed by the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs earlier this week, saying that 7 Russian sailors were released on August 24. According to sources close to the matter, the remaining 6 Ukrainian sailors have also been freed. The ministry said the release resulted from joint efforts carried out by the Russian embassy diplomat in Abuja, Nigerian authorities, and the representatives of the ship owner. The crew members are currently located at the regional headquarters of the Nigerian Navy in Port Harcourt, where they will undergo medical examination before returning to their homelands.
My guests in the studios have been Mr. Edward Heyman, he's the Fire and Safety Manager at the Port of Tema, Mr. James Benjamin Gazy, the General Manager, Estate and Environment at the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, and Mr. Richard Edu-Yirenchi, the Senior Revenue Officer, Customs Division of the Customs Laboratory, the Port of Tema is also the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority. We've been talking about the experiences that we have learned from the Beirut or the Lebanon port explosion. We hope we have learned some lessons. See you same time next week.